This is a sports catastrophe production. Hey there, hello, ho there. Chef Kurt Government welcome you to another sports catastrophe on this day. And on this day, 54 years ago, in 1967, on April 28th, Muhammad Ali defies logic and says no to the U.S. Army. A lot of it has to do with him being a Muslim and all that. In 1964, just days after he beat Cassius Clay for the heavyweight belt, Cassius Clay would basically, when he won the belt from, why is his name escaping me for some dumb reason? Sonny Liston. Cassius Clay changed his name to Muhammad Ali and became a Muslim. Basically, he was not happy with how blacks were treated by the white population, and so he should have. But basically, him and the Nation of Islam were basically causing more trouble for blacks than should be there. Martin Luther King, by comparison, basically led them to nonviolent stuff, but basically Malcolm X's group, basically the Nation of Islam, were basically being jerks and all that. However, that's not here or there. So basically, Muhammad Ali, was a great heavyweight champion. But the U.S. Army decided to draft him in 1967 because they were basically trying to get a lot of American males to go into the Army and fight in Vietnam. However, Ali basically said no, mostly because of his religious beliefs. And he also didn't want to go because he had nothing wrong with the Viet Cong and all that. Basically, he said that America is being repressed here, and sending these people out to war basically are going to mean trouble and all that. Now, it wasn't completely sure if Ali was going to go to Vietnam or not. Maybe the Army was just basically making him in the Army just for some reason, just to, for morale and all that. That does happen sometimes, that they draft these people and then basically not send them to war, but basically for stuff to basically for morale. That I would believe. But basically, Ali was not having none of it. And unfortunately, the U.S. Army basically was not too happy about him draft dodging and all that. It got to a roar that basically, many American males fled the U.S. and up into Canada to avoid the draft and avoid fighting in Vietnam because Canada didn't really have a beef with Vietnam and all that. Now, I know the war in Nam was because, they were scared that communism was going to sweep the world and all that. But did they not realize that Cuba was communist and that it was right in their backyard, if you will? But yeah, all that. And as everyone should know, the Americans lost that war against Vietnam. I mean, just like Germany when they were trying to invade Russia and all that, the Americans did not do well with the harsh terrain. And basically, yeah, you know that. So it's hard to believe and all that. So of course, things were at a head and all that. So Ali, by refusing induction, would basically get the wrath of the American people. Basically, he wasn't welcome to fight in the U.S., so he would have to fight in other countries, such as Canada and all that. He was stripped of his heavyweight title and all that. However, things would subside in a few years. Basically, once America basically was fighting a losing battle, Ali got back to fighting major fights, including the fight of the century against Joe Frazier in 1971. Or was it Ken Norton? I think it was Ken Norton. No, it was Joe Frazier. I know he had a big fight with Ken Norton in the 70s, but anyway. So anyway, things would simmer down, and Ali regained his heavyweight crown. Although it took till 1974 for him to do it against George Foreman, who was freaking a malicious person. Foreman would change after a near-death experience and basically be more God-given and all that. But, Foreman was a bug before he was a hug. We would give a hug. So anyway, Ali's refusal for induction Wasn't anything really to sneeze at, but basically the U.S. needed to do something about it. And I think it was a way to punish those draft dodgers and all that. And in the end, the U.S. war on Vietnam softened after Cronkite's stance on it in March 1968. Basically, Lyndon Johnson decided to not run for re-election, basically saying, if I lost Cronkite, I've lost middle America. And basically that's led America to 8 years of Richard Nixon. Or it was supposed to be 8 years, but, it was 6 because, Watergate. Ali was a polarizing figure, basically for the Muslim people and for basically standing up for the little guy and all that. So basically, things didn't look down for Ali. Basically, he was popular in the 1970s. He had a cartoon series which he voiced himself. He was very popular. He got the heavyweight championship in 74. He lost it to Leon Spinks, but beat Spinks back. It was amazing. But Ali suffered Parkinson's, and by the end of his career, he just couldn't fight and all that. And that was just ruining him, in a sense. So, yeah, that was hard to believe. But, Ali was a great guy and all that. And things worked out for him. That's all that matters. Anyway, I'm Jeff Dye, and I do.